Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the beta world. Um, right now I'm digging up some stuff. Not for any particular reason, but kind of just because it's an easy, monotonous task. Now, I had something that I wanted to talk about in particular today. But firstly, before that, I just want to say that I had a very good breakfast this morning, and I will put it up on screen. It was very delicious. The toast was a little bit overdone, but, that's okay. But, of course, no breakfast is mine. No breakfast of mine is complete without my rock star. So sorry if my voice is a little mushy. I literally just ate food, and now I'm drinking an energy drink. Oh, like that. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this strange phenomenon that I think maybe it's not necessarily new, but I think it's definitely been like popularized and kind of made more prominent, I guess, by YouTube and the internet, and especially now as people like myself who grew up with YouTube and with the internet and these things, now we're all becoming adults, and now we all are starting to experience the same thing. So now we take to the internet to talk about it, and I think that's the difference, because I think our parents probably experienced it too. Maybe not quite as much though. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about was this strange seeming fixation. There seems to be a very strange thing happening with people our age, and that is that we all are kind of trying to hopelessly relive our childhoods. Maybe not all of us, but I definitely think it's most evident in my generation of people. And I was kind of curious to figure out why that is. Why do we all want to relive our childhood memories and like those nostalgic things? I mean, literally right now I'm playing a version of a game that I played growing up that is very nostalgic for me. And while I do genuinely think that this version of the game is better, that's just my opinion, there's definitely a large element of it that is nostalgia because, well, this was my Minecraft. This was my Minecraft. You know what I mean? Anyway, I just, I wanted to try to talk about that and kind of figure out why that might be. A big reason, I think a big reason, probably one of the biggest reasons, is that as kids, we probably spent our time a lot better doing a lot more fulfilling things than we do now. Now we either have a job that takes up most of our time, or, if you're lucky and don't have a job right now, then you probably spend most of your time, well, maybe you're doing school, maybe you're doing college, maybe you spend your time doom scrolling on one of the countless social media apps that just feeds on your swipes. All of these things, like there's all of these elements that could consume our time, and not only do I think that's the reason why we partially why we want to relive our childhoods, I think that's also partially the reason why time has seemingly sped up for us. Now, there is that theory that I've heard about where it's like, oh, every day is less of a percent of your life as time goes on. And while that's probably true to some extent, I think some of it's probably also that we just waste a lot of our time doing pointless, meaningless tasks that we know are meaningless, but we still do them anyway. And I think that's probably a factor for both things. So yeah, I think, as kids, when we got bored or had free time, what did we do? I mean, for me, I would go outside, I'd play with sticks in the dirt, or ride my bike to my friend's house, or, all these other things. And, I did still play around on my computer, and I did still do programming and the things that I do now for the most part. But the time that I spend now just sitting and watching, I don't know, like Asmongold or something, or like Ben Eater or whatever, like any other YouTuber, the time that I spend watching YouTube is the same time that I would have spent when I was younger doing, more fun things, like going to the dirt track thing near my house with my RC truck and driving that around. That's kind of my point, is that, as kids, we seemingly, a lot of us, made our own fun when we were younger, and don't really do that so much now. I think another thing is that everything for us at the time was new. right? Like everything you saw when you were younger was the first time that you'd ever seen it, and it was kind of magical and ethereal, is that the word? In that way, like kind of a mystical, like new thing. That kind of made a lot of things feel very, yeah, like magical. What the hell? Okay. And I think that's actually probably one of the biggest reasons why we go back and try to relive those things. Like this version of the game for me, when I was younger, when this was the first version that I really, saw and got into, this was like magical to me. Part of it was also that I wasn't super deep into the programming sphere, the game development sphere, or anything like that. And so, I didn't do what I do now, which is, anytime I play a game, even a game like this, I almost can't help but just spend most of my time playing the game, trying to analyze and understand how that game works. And, it's kind of fun sometimes, but it does kind of suck that I now kind of just can't enjoy games anymore. Like, I can't really pick up and enjoy new games anymore because, I don't know, I just can't play the game anymore. I just focus on all of the trying to pick apart the game. That's probably part of why, for me, this version of the game used to feel so, like I said, magical, is because it was like I didn't understand all of these things. I didn't understand these concepts that I understand now. I hadn't made several half-baked Minecraft clones, then like I have now. I'd thought about it, but I'd never actually done it and, understood how these games were put together. So in that sense, I was able to actually be immersed into the world that the game wanted me to be immersed in and enjoy it, which is just something I can't do now. And that part is probably not a common experience. I doubt that any of you can relate to that specifically, but I think there's kind of an element of that for everybody, which is that we were able to enjoy these kinds of things like games a lot more when we were younger, either just because they were new or just, because we lacked some insight that we have now. I think another part is probably our school friends and learning in school, which kind of ties into the same thing, which is just that this period of time in our life was just filled with very, like a bunch of new concepts and new things and a lot of learning. And of course, people generally, humans, like learning things. We are probably pretty fond of that time that we spent learning 7 hours a day. And we also had our school friends. There are some people who are just social and probably still have just as many, if not more, friends now than they did in school. But me personally, I'm not. I'm not a very social person. I'm very bad at being social. Very few people seem to find interest in me. But, in school, we were stuck around the same people all day, pretty much, every day. That kind of leads to some friendships along the way. I mean, it would have to, otherwise you'd be miserable. And that's probably part of it too. There were so many more options to go do things. Like now, now if I wanted to go out and do something, I don't know, if I wanted to go out and just, drive around and go to, like, let's say I wanted to go to a thrift store, right, and look at cool vintage stuff. I can do that on my own. And I do like doing that on my own, but it's a lot more fun with other people. But the problem is that I have maybe 1 or 2 people that I could actually call up and be like, hey, do you want to do this thing? And I'd have maybe like a 5% chance of either of them saying yes. So I think that's one of the big differences, because when I was younger, if I wanted to do something, if I wanted to go hang out with somebody, I'd just get on my bike and ride up to one friend's house, and if they said no or they were busy, they weren't home, I'd ride over to another friend's house, and if they were busy and they weren't home, then I'd go to another friend's house, and so on, until I found, what the hell? Until I found someone, to go with me and do things. I don't know why it's constantly raining, by the way. I wish it would stop. It might be a bug with my snow mod, because I turned it off, because I was like, oh, it's, it's not really snowy time anymore. I'll turn off the snow mod. That might be the problem. Hold on, I guess I'll turn the snow mod back on. Hold on. Okay. I went and just turned the snow mod. Oh my god. I went and turned the snow mod back on because it was constantly raining, and I think that was the problem. But anyway, I don't remember what I was saying. Something about school friends, being able to hang out with them more often, blah blah blah. Like you get the point. Just that we had more friends, more options, more availability to do things when we were younger. I forgot about that little house. I forgot about a lot of stuff, honestly. It's been a while. I think another factor, maybe a big one, actually. I don't really know. I don't really know how to rank these. I don't know which is bigger than the rest. But anyway, another factor, I think, is that we kind of all realize that we're getting older. You know, day by day. We're getting just a little bit older every day. And a lot of us... whoa. A lot of us... we don't like that. I don't think anybody likes that. We kind of just have this vision where we just stay our current age right now in our current situation forever kind of thing. Obviously that can't happen, and I think we're kind of all starting to realize that that can't happen. And so in a way we like kind of just want to cling on to our childhood in a hope that like a desperate plea that if we just keep doing the same things that we did when we were younger, we won't get older and it'll be okay. I think generally though, it also has to do with us being worried about the future more than us realizing, you know, like, oh, I'm now 22, you know. I think more than anything, it has to do with the fact that we realize that our time left is kind of slowly creeping in on us. And while we think now, like, oh, it's so far away, that's also what we thought about our current age now when we were in elementary. Like, when we were in elementary school, the age that we're at right now was the age that we were like, oh, that's so far away, like, I don't even need to worry about it. And, well, now you're here, so, you know, that can maybe be a little bit worrisome, because you might be realizing that all that stuff kind of comes a lot quicker than you think. Let's go on a little voyage, actually, while I yap. But, you know, all this talked about, you know, all these reasons why we might want to relive our childhood, that's great. What do we do about it, you know? Do we try to hopelessly relive our childhood forever and make that our entire life? Well, probably not. What should we do then, you know? What should we do instead of spending most of our lives living in a gangster's paradise, as some might say? As much as we all might not like it, we probably should quit trying to relive our childhood. We should probably stop trying to, in a sense, relive these memories. Because the first little bit, you know, the first few times you mess around with the same thing you tried when you were younger, like first time you boot up Age of Empires 2 again, you know, that's very fun. It's very nostalgic. But as you keep doing it, over time you start to kind of erode the actual nostalgic feeling that was there in the first place. You kind of start to forget what it really did feel like when you were younger, what you thought about it when you were younger, you know what I mean? You know, not that I'm gonna stop making these videos, but I have to say that that's definitely true with this version of Minecraft for me. You know, from, not just from these videos, but from me on my own time trying to relive that experience fruitlessly through playing this version of the game. I have, in a sense, kind of forgotten, partially, what it felt like for me when I was younger. Like, I know I can describe what it is, you know, like I can describe that it was magical and all these things, but I can't really, like, feel that feeling anymore when I think about it. Like, when I think of other things that I would find nostalgic, I can kind of feel that feeling, you know what I mean? And I'm kind of losing my ability to do that with these older versions of Minecraft. And in a way that's a little bit sad, because Minecraft is really important to me, especially these early versions. And maybe that's a dumb, nerdy thing to say, but it really is. So it's a little sad, but, you know, I've always done this. I've always played these older versions, so it's kind of just been, this feeling has just been slowly chipped away for a long time. But, you know, yeah, don't do that. Don't keep trying to relive your memories. Just leave them as is, you know, like even though you might want to experience those things again, it's not worth losing that feeling. What you can do instead, though, is instead of trying to do the exact same things in the exact same way that you did when you were younger, we can try to live our lives in a similar way to the way that we did when we were younger, because, well, the way that we lived our lives when we were younger was the way that we made these memories in the first place. You know, the fact that we went out and did things with friends, and the fact that we went out and played with sticks in the yard and tried new things and all that stuff. Like, all of those are elements. Those are all probably huge reasons as to why we built these memories in the first place. So instead of getting blindsided by thinking that, you know, those memories can only come from childhood and you'll never be able to, you know, like, you'll never be able to experience anything like that again, and trying to relive exactly those things again, we can take some notes from how we lived our lives before and try to adjust the way that we live our lives now to help us make more memories, you know, more memorable things. The main thing is that when we were younger, I think one of the main huge differences is that when we were younger, we did very different things with our time when we were bored versus what we do now. Now, I get it. Most of the time when we, you know, come home from doing things, very tired, you know, we don't want to go do things. We don't want to go around with friends after we get home from a long day where we're tired, or like maybe it's, you know, maybe you get home and it's like 9 o'clock, then you can't go really do much at all. But we can take some notes on how to use our bored time better. And a lot of that, there's a video by this guy, I think his name's John Makes Beats. He's pretty cool, I like his stuff. And he talked a lot about this too, which is that the way that our lives are lived now kind of creates this all-time high of, you know, like stimulus and activity, where we're always doing something, we're always stimulated, and that kind of makes it so that we're kind of bored of being stimulated. So then we don't want to go do anything, right? Because then, you know, we're already so stimulated we don't want to do anything. I've said this for a long time. I've always said this to people, but I think the best thing you can do for yourself is, if you're feeling bored, or really just do this anyway, but especially if you're feeling bored, you should take some time and, you know, if you live in a rural area like I do, just go walk outside. Or, you know, if you don't live in a rural area, just sit on the couch and, you know, stare at a wall or something and just be with yourself. Give yourself some time for you and just you. Like, no phone, no distractions. I've noticed when I go on walks or whatever, or do whatever I want to do to kind of relieve that bored feeling, I always leave my phone and everything inside. Not because I, like, can't control myself or whatever, because I can. I rarely ever check my phone, just ask my parents. Mostly because it kind of feels a little bit freeing. Even though I'm not using it, it feels kind of freeing to not have that tether right in my pocket. So, you know, next time you're feeling bored or whatever, just take some time to yourself, and just be with yourself. Hang out with yourself. And there's a reason that some of our best thoughts come from shower thoughts. And that's because, well, what are you doing in the shower? Not talking to anybody. You're not doom scrolling on your phone, I hope. I mean, that'd be a little bit sad if you were. Maybe you should stop if you are. When we're in the shower, we just shower and we're just there with ourselves. And these thoughts, you know, these fun ideas and thoughts and things just kind of come out naturally. Whoa, that was weird. Whoa, the hell. These thoughts, they kind of just come out naturally as we spend time with ourselves. So it really is important to spend time with yourself and give yourself a break from that constant high we have from social media and, you know, everything else that we can stimulate ourselves with. Actually, that might be another element of why we want to be younger, is because, well, when we were younger, we didn't have those problems. We didn't have, especially people my generation, we didn't even have those things to worry about. Like, they didn't exist. You know, TikTok didn't exist. Instagram didn't really exist. I mean, kind of, but not really. You know, these things didn't exist in the way that they do now, and we were more accustomed to spending our time that way. So really, like, just take some time off the phone, off the computer, all that, and just go be with yourself, because you are the most important person you know. I think I've said that before. Really, like, I mean it. Just go spend some time with yourself. It's important. That's kind of all I wanted to talk about. But while I still have your attention, maybe I want to talk a little bit. Let's you and I let's talk one-on-one for a minute. Let's have a chat. I want to kind of, well, shoot, I don't even know how to talk about this. So with this channel, right, all that I've really done with it is play Minecraft, build things, and leave in my yap sessions. And this video is a little bit different because I actually wrote down some notes. I read them terribly, what I wanted to talk about. Man, I'm really bad at commentating while I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to do right now. Okay, let me restart. So, I've been doing these beta videos on this channel, and all they are is just me walking around yapping, building stuff. That's fine. People like that, you know. But that kind of thing definitely does get stale. So, what I want to try to do is kind of more of what this video was, or what this video was attempting to be, which is making, you know, thinking of some kind of positive message that I want to talk about, writing notes about how I want to go about, you know, talking about it in a way that's engaging, and then recording myself talking about it while I play. That's kind of what I wanted to experiment with this video, but I think that kind of has more opportunities for more videos. You know, as much as I do like building stuff here, sometimes I just want to play and do stuff and record it, but I feel like with how I did my videos previously, I kind of felt an obligation to make something every video, and that's kind of why I wanted to take a break for a minute, was because I was just a little bit burned out of doing that. I think I want to try to just move this toward being more about what I'm actually talking about than the game itself, because, you know, we all like Minecraft. We've all seen Minecraft, you know. It's no new thing when somebody starts building stuff in Minecraft. I want to start making more videos just about some message, and then talking about it, and then putting that up instead. So let me know what you think of that. Another thing that I want to do, and this isn't related to this channel, it's kind of related to the other one. Another thing that I want to do, I want to make videos about, like I kind of said here, I like sometimes going to like thrift stores or whatever, or garage sales, and finding old things that people have, combined with the fact that you know, you won't believe this, but I like computers a lot. I kind of want to start doing more like computer videos on my other channel, which would be like explaining computer science concepts, you know, like how computers do things. And also that would be going and getting like old computers or whatever from garage sales, trying to fix them up and, you know, reselling them or whatever, like that kind of thing. I think that'd be kind of fun to make videos about that. Both of those, I mean, the second channel, I know you guys are here for this, so maybe this isn't the best place to ask about the second channel stuff, but if you do watch the second channel, let me know what you think about that. And other than that, hopefully this doesn't end up being too short of a video, but that'll be it for me today. Definitely next time I want to prepare better, have a better set of notes planned out, and maybe put another egg in my breakfast, that way I think better. But like always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Appreciate everybody. I hope to see you guys again soon. Bye.